today we are going to be tackling the question, should I get back together with my ex? Now, if this is not a question that you're struggling with, but you have a friend who is, please pass this along. My intention here is just really to give you some useful information and some guidance on how to think about and make your decision, okay? Before we jump in, I did create for you 2 free resources that you can find by going to the links in the YouTube channel. One is a free compatibility quiz, and the other one is a relationship evaluation guide. Both of these tools were designed to help you think about your relationship from a different perspective. And sometimes getting a different perspective is what's really going to be beneficial when you're trying to make important, decisions like this. Okay, so generally speaking, I am not a big fan of getting together with an ex. And here's the reason why. It's because most people jump back into the relationship too soon before they have worked on themselves, before they've really reflected. And what that does is that kind of increases your likelihood of getting sucked back into that whole break up, get back together, break up, get back together cycle, which that is a real cycle. And what will happen is, and at least happens with a lot of my clients, from the past, is that they do this and they wake up 3 years later and they're in the same place and miserable. And I don't want that for anybody, and I certainly don't want that for you. With that said, there are people who make it work. There are people who get back together with their ex and they live happily ever after. Now, I did look it up. I was trying to find a percent. I need to mute this. I was trying to find a percentage. I could not find a percent of success stories. But of course, they're out there. I know of them. You know of them. I'm sure you have friends. But I can pretty much guarantee that the reason why they're success stories is because they did the work before they got back together. So with that said, if you're considering this question, here are some things to think about. The first thing I want you to think about is, why are you considering trying again in the first place? There's typically 2 reasons why. You might have a different reason, but these are the most common 2. The first one is loneliness, right? So you're used to talking to this person every day, several times a day. You have your own routines and your rituals. You miss them. It doesn't even matter how bad the relationship was. You're still going to miss that person. You had invested your time, your energy, and your heart, right? And so what happens is you all start missing each other. And it's during this stage of the missing and the loneliness that you start running what I call the highlight reel. It's like my hair's all weird. In your head, you're running the reel of all the great things about your partner, all the things that you loved, all the things that you miss. And somehow all the shitty stuff, including the reasons why you broke up, kind of fade from your memory. And then what happens? Reason number 2. Doubt creeps in, okay? So usually loneliness comes first and then the doubt. And what happens is one person starts to doubt their decision or their choice, and they reach out to the other person who's probably also a little bit doubting, and now you're both sitting in loneliness, and now you're both sitting there doubting whether or not you made the right choice. So those are typically the 2 reasons why people would consider getting back with their ex. Now, why is it important to kind of figure out what's causing you to even think about this in the first place? It's because I want you to know that if it's literally just like loneliness, you guys, loneliness will fade. And it's not easy. You have to be patient. You have to get help processing it. But ultimately, loneliness fades. And so getting back together with an ex because you're lonely is only going to bring you right back to the same spot where you're at right now, okay? And I don't want that for you, and I don't think you want that for you. Now, if there's loneliness and there's doubt is harder. And this is the part that really kind of trips people up. So this is the part where I'm going to share with you some things to do and some questions to ask yourself. So here we go. So if doubt is creeping in, the first thing I want you to do, and I want you to get out a piece of paper, is write down a list, and it sounds terrible, but it works. Write a list of all of the problems or the issues that you had in the relationship, okay? Even if you're not the breaker-upper, even if you're the person that was broken up with, You know that there were issues and problems in the relationship. Write those down. And then I want you to write down, I would like you to make a column, right? So maybe on the left, the problems or issues in the relationship. And on the right, write down your ex-partner's not so great qualities that really kind of bugged you. Write down the complaints you had about the way they were showing up or behaving in the relationship. The reason why I'm having you do this, it's not because I'm an asshole. It's because you need to have a really, really clear idea of what was happening in the relationship. Now, if you print out that relationship evaluation guide, I have a ton of questions here for you to answer that will help even give you some more specific things to think about. But you have to be really honest and specific about what happened in the last time around, basically, is what you're doing. So now here come the questions. Okay, so you write that down, look at your questions. Question number 1, are you willing to change the way that you think about those past problems or issues? Question number 2, are you willing to change the way that you think about your ex-partner's not so great qualities and the issues or problems or complaints that you had about them? Are you willing to change the way that you're thinking about them, right? Last but not least, this is the big one. If you were to get back together, say today or next week or next month, and absolutely nothing changed from before, would you be happy in the relationship? That's the kicker. Okay? The reason why I ask that question is because of this. True change has to take place from each person individually because you want it for yourself. And most people get back into a relationship promising change because they miss this other person, because they're lonely, because they have doubts. But what happens is 3, 4, 5 months in, after you've reunited, the same problems arise. So that's why I asked that question. Are you willing to think about this stuff differently? And could you be happy with nothing changing? Okay. Now, depending on how you answer that question, that's going to hopefully change the way that you think about whether or not you should get back together with them. Now, you're like, Carrie, yes, I want to get back together with them. Okay. I'm going to give 2 things to think about, right? Here it is. Number 1, what are 3 things that are important to you this time around? Okay, so what do you want to be the priority this time around in this relationship? And something else I want to add here is that if you do get back together with your ex, both of you, I would really strongly suggest that both of you approach this relationship as if it's a new relationship. So you're not bringing in old shit. Okay, consider it a fresh start. It's a new relationship. We're starting over. Okay, so what are 3 things at least that you really want to prioritize this time around in this relationship? And the second question is this: what are you willing to do different this time around? Okay, so those are really important questions for you to answer. Should you say, yes, I want to get back together with my ex? Now, let's pretend you have a conversation with your ex and they too want to get back together. I would really strongly suggest that you have them go through the same process and check in with each other and see if you're on the same page. Okay? My entire purpose here is I'm trying to save you heartache, and I'm trying to help give you some guidance so that you can make a decision that is most informed and best for your life. Okay, my friends, that is it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope this helped. And of course, please leave any comments or questions for me. And of course, please subscribe, like, and share. Have a great day.